Okay, today we're going to talk about dimensional analysis. Here we go. All right, so what is it? Dimensional analysis is used to convert from one unit to another unit using a conversion factor. So many of you have done this in your algebra class before. We use these things called T-charts, which we're going to see in a little bit. But these conversion factors, they're a number that has the same meaning that can connect two different units. So think of it like most of you are in some sort of foreign language class, maybe you're in Spanish class. In Spanish, the animal that says woof woof would be perro, and then in English, the animal that says woof woof is dog. They both are the same animal, just two different ways of talking about or naming that particular animal. Same thing with these conversion factors. An inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. They're the same length, just two different ways of naming it. So we're going to be using those conversion factors to do our conversions. So for example, we'll play around with this problem here to explain our dimensional analysis, but do you think you've lived 1 times 10 to the 6, that's supposed to be in, to the 6th power, not 106. 1 times 10 to the 6 seconds, do we think? So we're going to work together step by step, set this up in a T-chart, and so we're first going to see what we're given and what we want to end up with. Okay, so the first step is you want to make a T-chart. So here's your T-chart. Now we're not going to use it as so much like a box, but just based on how PowerPoint works. It'll look like a box, but we'll show the example that I write out later what the T-chart will look like. You always want to start with your known or the number the question that gives you in the top left. So they said, hey, you're starting out with 1 times 10 to the 6 seconds. So your given is always a number with a unit attached to it. And then at the end of this T-chart, after the equal sign, you want to put what you're trying to get to, or your wanted unit, because that really helps you figure out what to do throughout your T-chart, how to lay out your conversion factors correctly. So always put what you're trying to get to right at the beginning here, right when you're starting the problem, put what you're trying to get to at the very end, so you don't get lost and confused in your T-chart. Okay, so let's set up our problem here. Okay, so we want to make sure all unwanted units cancel out, so only your wanted unit, the years, remains. So the same units should be diagonal to one another. The reason why you do this, so for example, if to set up here, I want to get rid of the seconds that's at the top here. Okay, I want to get rid of this, the seconds unit. So if I divide by seconds, then I would cancel it out. My conversion factor, I'm going to go from seconds to minutes here. So I know for every 60 seconds, that's worth 1 minute. That those two items have the same amount of time, just two different measures of unit to measure that time. So the seconds on top will cancel out the seconds on the bottom. When you divide by like terms, you cancel out. So now we're in the unit minutes. Well, we want to get to years, so we need to get rid of minutes. So we're going to put minutes on the bottom. We know for every 60 minutes, there's an hour. So the minutes will cancel out. Now we're left in hours. We still need to get to years, so we're not done doing our conversions here. So I want to get rid of hours, so that goes in the bottom. I know for every 24 hours, that's worth a day. So my hours cancels out. I'm in the unit day. I'm getting close to years here. I know there's 365.25 days for every 1 year. Just the 0.25, that's what we account for leap year every 4 years, just FYI. All right, so by doing this, my seconds cancel out seconds, my minute cancels out minutes, my hours cancel out hours, my day cancels out days. So when you lay out your T-chart, you need to make sure that your diagonal units match so they cancel each other. If they don't match, it means you set up your conversion factor wrong. Okay, so now you have it laid out. So step 2 here says multiply all the top numbers across the top row, the numerators. So we're going to do 1 times 10 to the 6 times 1 times 1 times 1 times 1, which you get 1 times 10 to the 6 years technically. Then you divide by the numbers, the numerator you got in step 2, like all in your calculator, by each number in the denominator. So after each answer, press the divide sign followed by the next denominator and press enter then. So you can do 1 times 10 to the 6th, what you got here, divided by 60. There's a 60 divided by 60. So divide sign 60, divide sign 24. There's my 24. And divide sign 365.25. So you get 3.2 times 10 to the negative second years. So that would be equivalent to 2.03 years. So you have definitely lived 1 times 10 to the 6, or 1 times 10 to the 6 seconds, for sure. Okay, so let's do a couple of practice problems where you'd write them out. I'm going to pull up a Word doc here. Okay. So just to do some conversions that you probably have seen before. So inches to centimeters to inches. So how many inches are in 10 centimeters? So this 10 centimeters, I'm going to make red here. This is my given. Okay, it's a number with a unit. That's my given. They want to know how many inches that is. So this is my unknown. Whoa. Alright, maybe alright, this is my unknown. Okay, I'm going from centimeters to inches. Okay, so let's just go back to green here, or to black. You're going to set up your T-chart. So this is called a T-chart right here. I'll put my equal sign. So my given is 10 centimeters. So I put my given in the top left, nothing goes down here, because it's technically just over 1. Okay. So I put my number and the unit, and I want to get to inches. I want to write that at the end here so I understand exactly how to lay out my conversion factor to cancel things out. All right, so I want to get rid of centimeters, so I'm going to put the conversion factor part of the centimeter down here. I know for every 2.54 centimeters, that is an inch. So, all right, so what's left to do here is to do our math. So we're going to do 10 times 1. So just to show you, you can do this all on your calculator, but I'm going to write out my numbers here. So 10 times 1 obviously is 10. And then we divide by 2.54. So your answer would be 3.94 inches. So I'm just rounding to 3 digits just as a default here. So for every 10 centimeters, that's 3.94 inches. Those are the equivalent numbers there. All right, for the last example, how many inches are in 100 yards? Okay, so this is my given, 100 yards, number in a unit. My inches is my unknown. I'm trying to solve for inches. All right, set up your T-charts. So my given goes in the top left, 100 yards. My unknown I'm trying to get to is I'm trying to figure out, well, how many inches is that? Okay. Okay, so we can do a conversion factor. We know there's 3 feet in a yard. Yards is on top. Okay, so I want to cancel it out. So what would go on the bottom? You guessed yards, that is correct. So for every 1 yard, that is worth 3 feet. So by doing that, yards cancels out yards. Okay, now I'm left in foot. I don't match inches yet, but I know for every 12 inches, there's a foot. Okay, so I want to get rid of the foot unit. So where does the foot unit conversion of this conversion factor go? It goes on the bottom. Okay, so for every 1 foot, we have 12 inches. So foot on top cancels out the foot on the bottom. And you divide it like terms, they cancel each other out. We're left in inches, which is matching our unknown units. So it means I'm done setting up my T-chart. So we're going to multiply the top numbers. So 100 times 3 times 12. You should get 3,600, okay? And then divide by 1, divide by 1. Well, that's not going to change your number here. So your answer, final answer will be 3,600 inches. So there you go. Okay, so that is dimensional analysis. All right. Thanks.